All right, we are back with another Q&A all about this weekend. It was 3 weddings, one weekend, a family that has 3 kids. This like number 3 was like coming up a lot. It's like funny. But it was an amazing weekend. We had a wedding on Friday. Our associate team had a wedding on Saturday. And we also filmed a wedding on Sunday. And that one was very special for us. That was one of our good wedding photographer friends that we actually shoot weddings with. It was her wedding. And, I feel like it's big to shoot another vendor's wedding. We knew a lot of people that were there, a lot of other photographers, and so it was super fun, but also just like a very busy day.
Very busy, yes, it definitely was. But in this Q&A, we're going to talk about some real behind-the-scenes moments. We'll talk about what worked, what didn't work, some of our favorite moments, and then one surprise that really caught us off guard. Everything's fine. And then, so let's dive right into it.
All right.
So let's talk about the good. So what happened that went smoother than expected?
I think the weather. It was rainy all week. It was just like, we've had so much rain this month. And I know the bride was getting nervous, especially for Friday of the weather. We were a little bit nervous, but I somehow know it's all going to work out, and it did. The weather on Friday was it literally couldn't make up its mind. It was rain, sun. But you know what happens when there's rain and sun constantly is there's always a rainbow.
Yes.
And that was my favorite.
Steph got very excited, and you will definitely see that on the video, but in the behind the scenes, she got really, really excited. But yeah, rainbows, I mean, listen, when you have rain and the rainbows come out, it makes it extra special, especially when the couple has been stressing all week. And, when you have a wedding, it's the last thing you want it to rain. It did sprinkle a little bit but when the rainbow came out, it was all smiles.
Yeah. What about for Sunday's wedding? What did you think went smoother than expected?
I think one thing that went smoother than expected was the amount of stress I didn't have. Last vendor wedding we shot, I feel like I was a little bit more on edge. This one, I kind of went into it they have us here for a reason. I picked you, and a bunch of our friends are going to be there. So I kind of went into it this isn't really a work day. This is we're going to be with our friends, and we're just going to capture this beautiful day.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't I was anxious leading up to the day, and having butterflies and little anxiety leading up to it. But once the day started and I was in it, I was let's go. I actually felt comfort having all of our other friends being guests at the wedding. So it was really fun in that way. And I feel we were in our mode. We knew we had to just get creative stuff. And, I feel it was a really good day.
Yeah. All right, so next question. What system or workflow do you think saved us this weekend?
I think all of our back-end systems. So in terms of backing up our footage and having our templates in Premiere and all of that stuff ready to go, because, it is now Tuesday, and we already have culled through all of the footage from the weddings and done selects and working on finishing audio selects so that we can get these teasers done. And we wouldn't be able to do that without the system I think that we have in place of just being so organized.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. I definitely agree. And also just our battery system, and that's kind of a teaser for our question coming up, but having batteries charged, ready to go was a big thing. And we were up Saturday just making sure everything was ready to go for Sunday. And I kind of think everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
So.
And also too, our NAS, just being able to back it up fast and,
it was nice being able to drop all the audio files right on the NAS and then going upstairs and working and just knowing everything is on our network. It's it really is a game changer. So. Yeah. Next question. Did anything from our gear or timeline setup pay off for us?
I mean, I think in terms of the timeline, I think we were making sure that we're always at the wedding a little bit earlier than we start. I feel it, reduces that added stress of having to get there or worry about traffic or accidents. Because when we did start, there were times where we left a little bit too close to it, and there were instances where there was we were cutting it close. There was accidents, there was traffic, especially when you're traveling so far away. We were traveling maybe an hour and a half for Sunday's wedding. And we literally cannot be late for that. So by getting there, we're able to like get there, decompress, actually spend a little bit more time on all of the like scenic and drone shots, which I felt so great about. So this way, literally when the bride came, I was like focused on that. It was like, I mean, it was go, go, go from there. And so like, I don't know what I would have done if we didn't get there ahead of time to do all that. So that was big.
This one was for Morgan's wedding on Sunday because it was in Philly and we're up in North Jersey. But I, starting out our wedding career, I was kind of like the one who was like, okay, let's just get there 15 minutes before. And, Steph kind of converted me into that person of like, okay, let's be an hour early. Like you hear that like, oh, getting an hour early or two to the airport, like you hate to sit there, but like at the end of the day to be there and know that you're fine, like you don't have to get into traffic or God forbid an accident, like that is a huge
yeah
like,
and I have actually one little thing to add to that in terms of gear. It's like kind of our gear but like not really, is taking your car to that wedding. Like that was actually something new.
So we have a Tesla, so it was like one where like we're driving an hour and a half, and like obviously when you drive a Tesla you have to be cognizant of like how far it is and making sure your battery's charged and all that. So it was nice doing like the self-driving thing and making that kind of like one less thing, like okay, I can just kind of talk to Steph more about the wedding as we're driving there and just kind of focus on that. So that was kind of a
and
nice
even
thing.
driving home when you're like tired too, so
that was kind of helpful. Okay, so let's talk about a different topic on things to improve, some lessons learned. So first question with that one is, what didn't go as planned for this weekend, do you think?
So one thing that stands out to me was actually on Friday's wedding, the couple had a church ceremony. So they got ready at the venue, no first look, they had a church ceremony, and then after the church, we would head back to the venue for portraits and reception and all of that. And so, I think that as you're a videographer, you have a lot more setup that needs to be done for a ceremony compared to a photographer, where I feel like a lot of times they can just come with the bride, like walk on in and just start shooting. For us, we need to set up tripods. We need to make sure audio is set, scenic and like shots of like the church and stuff like that is important to us because I feel like that's important to the film. You know what I mean? As like a storytelling piece. And so one thing that happened is we left basically when we had on the timeline to leave, like, okay, we got to leave this time, allowing, I think it was at least like 45 minutes or an hour or so. So we would have been there like at the ceremony, like a half hour to like have that set up, which is what I like to have. Right. And so we left and it's saying like, Justin's like texting me, like, we got to go. Like it's saying 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I swear, like I put it in, it was supposed to be a half hour and it was, there was an accident and there was traffic. And, obviously the bride and they're all going the same way. And so like, if we're late, they're late, that's kind of thing. Well, happy ending to the story. Like as soon as we got to like where the accident had happened, I guess it already cleared up. It cleared up. I mean, I say we got there 15 minutes before, but
15-20.
It was pretty much like go time, when we got there. And so
there's not a minute wasted.
Yeah.
We just got to go. But that's where our systems kind of come in place, where we can kind of divide and conquer. And thankfully, Melissa has been shooting with us now for a while. So she kind of knows like where things need to go. And we kind of like, I'll get the audio, you get the details, Melissa set up the tripod. So it's like, when you have that luxury of being in it for so long, like you have been in a situation before, it's just having to execute and make sure everything is good to go. Yeah.
So, and one thing to add to that is that, based upon like experience after doing this a while, I think you learn that like, the bride had done her first look with her dad and the photographer was getting ahead on portraits of like her and the bridesmaids, maybe some portraits of like just the bride and stuff like before they're going to go. Right. I made sure that I obviously got the dad first look. I got literally like only a couple shots of like the bride and the bridesmaid because I knew we would get that like later again. And even though they were still shooting, I was like, we have to go. So I take the initiative and we leave. And so we don't wait until like they're done shooting and then we're even rushing more. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that is definitely like a tip for wedding videographers is you just have to be mindful of all of the setup that us as videographers have to do
Yeah,
at a ceremony,
and you know how
and knowing
long.
when to step away.
Well, you know how long certain things take to set up, and you're kind of doing the math like, okay, now it's time to go. And like, if we're going to be able to get this again later, there's no point for me to stay if I have something more important that I need to get
Yeah.
done. And the bride and groom, they'll understand that, and like, you do what you need to do. So, moving on. So, is there anything you wish we would have prepared differently?
What do you think?
I think going back to the whole batteries and memory card thing, we did have 3 weddings this weekend, and with Melissa, we share some of our memory cards sometimes, you know, when she has back-to-back weddings. So, and also batteries. So, is one thing where it's like on Sunday when we were shooting our friend Morgan's wedding, like we're shooting constantly. Like, I mean, constantly the whole day we were filming. So one thing that I wish I thought more ahead was to bring extra chargers. Typically we're fine, like, you know, we'll get enough what we need to get, but like for this one we wanted to really go overboard with filming, because, you know, we did, everything was beautiful, so we just kept going and going. So we were down to our last pack of batteries before the end of the night. So that was kind of a stressor.
Yeah, which it's 4 batteries. It's still a pack. Like, we were still in the safe
We've never
zone,
been down
but
to 1 pack, so that was kind of eye-opening for us.
I mean, I started getting worried as soon as like bridal prep ended, or like even during bridal prep, like the last couple shots, I literally went through a whole battery, and I just was like, that never happens, and that started getting me worried. I'm like, okay, conserve,
Yes.
like make sure all of these moments that are happening that aren't so like, I guess, like time sensitive, making sure that we run the batteries down, like basically until they're like blinking red, you know, unless there's like an important moment, like a first look or something, I'm not going to do that. But any of these like portrait style moments or anything like that, like running that down. So
yes, we have 5 different cameras we shoot on, and we have basically 3 batteries per camera. So, you know, we were down the last 4. So that was the one thing. So yeah, that was sort of the answer for that question. So next one, did anything about parenting or business sort of overlap or become stressful? I can ask it again and scroll down.
Yeah. Okay.
So next question, did anything about parenting and business become stressful?
I would say surprisingly no, this time around.
What?
We have 3 kids, but they are getting a little bit older. And when I say older, like they're not like
5,
little babies, but they are
3,
still
and
very
1.
little. I feel like when they're like little, like infants, it's a little bit more stressful, like in terms of like eating and putting to sleep and like routines. But now that they're all toddlers, it's a little bit easier to leave them. Like they're, thankfully my parents come and they watch them in our house, and you know, they know the kids' routine and the kids know their routine of like what they do. And so I feel like it was kind of like, you know, the chaos of the house. It was kind of like nice to step away, honestly, and like shoot the wedding.
I never stress. Like, I've never just been like, I know Graham and Papa are going to take care of our kids. Like, they're the only ones who could do it. And I never really stress about it, but it's, you know, it's honestly a nice getaway. It's always sort of like I always say this is like our day off whenever we get to work together. So knowing that they're home with the kids, Grandma and Papa, like they really just do an amazing job. So like it's time for us to kind of like lock into our creative modes, and you know, it's kind of nice, you know, after doing it for so long, just knowing we're safe in that regard.
Yeah.
So moving on, and now get into some of our favorite moments. So this was a busy weekend. So what was some of your favorite moments from each wedding?
Okay, I guess we'll start Friday.
Yeah,
Friday's wedding. I mean, you probably know what I'm going to say already, but the rainbow was definitely one of my favorite moments from Friday's wedding. I think that was just like so special. It was literally the brightest rainbow I've ever seen. And it was actually a double rainbow too. So some of those shots look just like so amazing. And, you know, I'm just like really excited for the couple to see them, and like how special to have a rainbow on your wedding day. And
in the comments, guys, if you've seen a rainbow at one of your weddings, definitely leave a comment and let us know that story, because I'm sure it'll bring joy to Steph.
What about you? What about for Friday?
I think for Friday, it was just one of my favorite moments is honestly just shooting at Hamilton Farm, which is a venue we've kind of always been wanting to film at. There's a venue not too far from there called Natarar, which we filmed over 20 times. And this one was another one where it's like, it was on our list for like, we want to shoot here. We know it's a nicer venue. It kind of matches our vibe. And honestly, I was really happy shooting there, and as beautiful as, you know, the couples described. So
Yeah,
really nice.
I agree.
All right, moving on to Sunday. I think for me, it was just like going back to the whole shooting your friend's wedding. It's different from any other wedding whenever you're shooting, you know, a photographer that you know's wedding, because it's like you're there, you know, I'm repeating myself, but like you're there with your friends, you're there, they chose you for that moment, for that reason, and I just loved being in that moment. Like I had no stress whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it was like two things. It was basically just being surrounded by like a lot of our friends. And I feel like that was like so special. That was just like so nice. It was almost like you always had to like refocus and like, okay, we can't talk to you. We got to like go work now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that was really, really special because that doesn't happen often for us.
does
You know
not,
what I
no.
mean? And so that was great. And then also I just think like Morgan's taste and like the style of her wedding was just breathtaking. It was like literally better than a styled shoot. And it was a real wedding. Like just every detail that she planned, it was just incredible. Like it was literally impossible not to get a good shot. Like it was just everywhere we shot, like every like spot, every little detail. It just it honestly made the job a little bit easier to be honest. You know what I mean? So because everything just looked so beautiful. She looked beautiful, and
Shout out to the planning team and
Yeah.
you know the florist and all that. We'll put them in the comments or in the description because they all did amazing jobs. Moving on. So what did you? Okay, so all right. So moving on. Did you try anything with gear shots or editing style from these weddings?
I think something that we did a little bit different is we actually shot a little bit more in, I'm not going to use the right like technical term for it, but in extra slow motion.
Yes.
So we have like a slow motion mode on our camera that we use a lot. It doesn't record audio. We always shoot that for
the ones who are
portraits.
technical. It's 120 frames per second, and then you know obviously you could slow that down double as slow as 60. So like you know instead of going to 50% on 60, you go down to like 30 or 20%, and it like gives it that extra drama. Super nice drama shots, and where we were going through them, and like Steph mentioned, we went through all the footage already, and it's like it's so buttery, like smooth.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. And one thing for me was doing some drone shots that were different, you know, filming the tent at night, seeing all like the lights and everyone dancing was really cool. And I did get a quick shot of everyone dancing inside the tent, which I typically,
With the drone.
With the drone, which I typically don't get. So don't tell the venue that. If you are the venue, I am sorry. Everyone is okay, I think. It actually started like drifting as I was doing it inside. So I was like, okay, I got my one shot and I was going to get more. And I was like, I don't want to risk it.
I know.
So
yeah,
that was that. And then for last favorite moment, what made Sunday special? I think we kind of answered this. What made Sunday's wedding special shooting a photographer's friend?
I mean, the thing that made it really special was honestly us being like chosen to film her wedding, to film like a friend's wedding, that they, you know, they chose us, they trusted us, they admire our work in that way. And I think that was truly like such an honor. And we were just in awe. We just like absolutely loved being able to be there to capture these moments because we knew that, you know, even though there's like that added stress of like wanting to do it the best, we knew that we could do it the best for her. Like, you know what I mean? We almost like are happy that she trusted us with it because like we knew that we can get it for her.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think we did. So we're really excited to like share that. But
yeah,
I agree.
I agree. Okay. Moving on to our last section is the section that everyone loves to hear about is what can't, okay. Moving on to our last section. Can't believe this happened. Wait. All right, so moving on to our last section, let's talk about things that we can't believe happened. So any moments of chaos behind the scenes that like were happening during any moments from this weekend? I think I mean, we probably mentioned already, but like the traffic thing was kind of
Mm-hmm.
stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't chaos, I would say, for Morgan's wedding, having it be a shorter ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Ken does get nervous speaking in front of people, so like they abbreviated it. So it was like, I'd say between a 5 to 7 minute ceremony. It was really, really short, but getting the kiss and making sure you're in your right spots, that was a little bit chaotic, but we were able to get it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It was just like being able to navigate that and like, you know, we were able to do that successfully because one, we have experience. We know like when things are happening during the
Mhm.
ceremony, okay, they're getting the rings on, like, okay, the kiss is going to be happening, kind of being prepared, always like having your ears tuned into what is happening. And then also like for us, at least we have multiple cameras set up throughout
Mhm.
the ceremony, right? So we have our two side angles on the bride and groom. We have a wide angle. We have Justin's, and then we also had our assistant Melissa getting reaction shots, and so we were fully covered in all of that, and so it was almost like we prepared ourselves for
Mhm.
anything that could go wrong, and I
Mhm.
think that is key. Like always, just like over preparing yourself in these live events. I always say it's a live event,
Mhm.
and that's why we're getting as many audio sources as we can for a
Mhm. Audio is
ceremony, like
huge too, yeah.
backup upon backup upon backup, because anything could happen. And same with cameras, like just literally making sure that we have it all covered because this is an important moment for them. So that was a little bit of a challenge, just
Mhm.
to like make sure that we got all of the shots, all the key moments for the ceremony, but we did, and that's about being prepared.
Yeah. Um, cool. Did the kids throw any curveballs this weekend?
um I don't think so.
They were good, so we'll skip that.
You
What's something most people wouldn't believe happened this weekend?
want to tell them?
Okay, so remember I was telling you guys about how much we shot for Morgan's wedding? Typically, we'll shoot around 500 gigs, which again, that's a lot. Think about it, as a photographer, you probably shoot less than 100 gigs. 500 gigs for a normal wedding. This one was double that. It was almost a terabyte. So we're 900 gigs of footage. Can you guys like believe that? Like honestly, that's our NAS is already filling up. Like it's only been like 4 weddings this year, and like we got to get more storage. So that was kind of insane. But like Steph was saying earlier, like everything was just so nice. It's like you couldn't not capture it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like this, like think about it. The ceremony was not long,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
true.
still have 900 gigs. Did I
Yeah.
just like hit record and forget to stop hitting like record? I don't know. So we'll dive deeper into that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that was our crazy 3 wedding weekend. We made it through. It's the hardest one for us this year, and like we're so happy we are able to do it. We watched all the footage, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I am happy that this weekend is past us. I feel like it was something we were anticipating, all since, the beginning of the year. And so it feels good to have that behind us, our
Mhm.
busiest weekend. And it should be like smooth sailing on here and out. And I just am happy that, we were all healthy this weekend. I
Mhm.
feel like that was like a big thing, like health. And we captured the weddings beautifully, all of the weddings. And our team did great on Saturday as well. And I am just so thankful for all of these couples and everyone who trusts us with shooting their wedding. It is truly an honor, and we love what we do. And we just we love capturing all of these moments and like the storytelling piece to it. And so it's really special for us. But that's all we have today for our Q&A. We thought it'd be fun to just like recap this crazy weekend. I think we're recovered. We are drinking lots of coffee. We have lots of editing to do this week, which we're going to have lots of teasers coming out.
Mhm.
But time to get back into our like routine workouts, eating healthy, just trying to keep up with the kids and balancing work and life and all of the kind of things. So if you've ever had like a triple header or double header, if you have any like tips or advice or
Even
anything
if you
like
shot
that,
your friends' weddings, like let us know in the comments like how that experience was and if you would ever do it again.
yeah.
So
All right. And we'll see you in the next one.
see ya.